My wife posted, "Finally pregnant. Time to lock this idiot down." I commented, "Whose baby?" because her timeline didn't match. I'd been deployed for 7 months. Her panicked live deletion crashed her phone as 10,000 people screenshots everything. Let me tell you about the exact moment my life went from military routine to daytime TV drama clusterfuck. Picture this. I'm lying in my cot in some godforsaken forward operating base in Afghanistan, 7 months deep into a deployment that's been longer than most Hollywood marriages. The air conditioning's busted again, the generator's making that god-awful grinding noise that sounds like a dying whale, and I've got exactly 3 hours before my next watch shift. Just another beautiful evening in paradise, right? My body's screaming at me to sleep. Hell, every muscle fiber feels like it's been through a meat grinder after pulling 14-hour shifts for the past 2 weeks. But you know how it is when you're deployed. Your brain won't shut off, and the only thing connecting you to the real world is that little glowing rectangle in your hand. So naturally, like every other lovesick soldier with too much time and too little sense, I pull out my phone to scroll through the digital wasteland we call social media. The Wi-Fi here moves slower than government bureaucracy, but eventually, Instagram loads up. I'm mindlessly scrolling past the usual bullshit. Some kid from high school posting his third divorce announcement, my cousin's endless gym selfies, and Karen from accounting sharing another Minion meme that died in 2015. Standard Tuesday night entertainment when you're stuck in the middle of nowhere with nothing but sand, bullets, and existential dread for company. Then I see it. The post that makes my blood freeze faster than the time our convoy got hit with an IED outside Kandahar. There's my wife, correction, my soon-to-be ex-wife, Marissa, looking absolutely radiant in this flowing white dress that probably cost more than my monthly hazard pay. She's surrounded by pink and blue balloons, hands cradling what's definitely a baby bump, with this expression on her face like she just won the goddamn lottery. The whole setup screams professional photo shoot, not some spontaneous pregnancy announcement. This wasn't a "honey, guess what?" moment. This was a full-scale production. But here's the kicker, the real punch-in-the-gut moment that makes me question everything I thought I knew about reality. The caption reads, "Finally pregnant. Time to lock this idiot down. 3 months along, and couldn't be happier. Two hearts baby hashtag blessed mama hashtag pregnancy journey hashtag my miracle. 3 months along." I stare at that number until my eyes start watering, not from emotion, but because I haven't blinked in about 30 seconds. My brain's working overtime, doing the kind of math that would make my high school algebra teacher proud. Let's see here. I've been deployed for 7 months. 7 fucking months. I left in February, and according to my phone, it's now September. Unless Marissa's somehow defying the laws of human biology and carrying the world's longest gestating baby, the math doesn't just not work. It's completely, utterly, spectacularly wrong. The worst part? She tagged me in the post. Like she wanted to make sure I saw it. Like she was proud of this announcement that basically screams, "I've been cheating on my deployed husband," to anyone with basic counting skills. My hands start shaking. Not the good kind of shake you get from too much coffee, but the kind that happens when your entire world shifts on its axis and gravity stops making sense. I read the caption again, hoping maybe I misunderstood. Maybe there's some explanation that doesn't involve my wife screwing around while I'm dodging bullets for Uncle Sam. Nope. Still says 3 months. Still doesn't add up. Still feels like someone just drop-kicked my heart into the nearest landmine. The comments section is already lighting up like the 4th of July. Her girlfriends are posting heart eye emojis and "OMG yay." Messages like this is perfectly normal. My buddies from back home are conspicuously silent, probably doing the same math I just did and coming to the same uncomfortable conclusion. Smart guys. But then I see something that makes my stomach drop even further, which I didn't think was physically possible. My mother-in-law, Elaine, has commented. And not just any comment. The kind of comment that confirms my worst fears and makes me want to throw my phone into the generator just to watch something else explode for once. So excited for you and Tyler. He's going to make such a wonderful father. Can't wait to meet my grandbaby. 2 hearts. Tyler, not Evan. Not her son-in-law who's currently serving his country in a shithole desert. Tyler, some other guy who apparently gets the privilege of fathering children with my wife, while I'm out here eating MREs, and wondering if today's the day I step on something that goes boom. The rage hits me like a Humvee at full speed. It's not the hot, explosive kind of anger you see in movies. It's cold, calculated, and sharp enough to cut glass. My thumb hovers over the comment section, and before my rational brain can talk me out of it, I type exactly what needs to be said. Whose baby? 2 words. Simple, direct, and loaded with about 7 months' worth of deployed husband fury. I hit send before I can second-guess myself, and immediately the post shows my comment sitting there like a digital grenade with the pin pulled. My hands are still shaking as I set the phone down on my chest and stare at the ceiling of my cot. The generator's still grinding away, the air conditioning still broken, and somewhere outside, the sound of another convoy rolling out echoes across the base. But none of that matters anymore. What matters is that in about 12 time zones away, my wife just announced to the world that she's pregnant with another man's baby, and I just called her out on it in front of God, the internet, and everyone we've ever known. This deployment just got a whole lot more interesting. You know that feeling when you throw a rock into a calm pond and watch the ripples spread out in perfect circles? Yeah, well, my whose baby comment was less like a rock and more like a fucking nuclear warhead dropped into the middle of social media's cesspool. The explosion was immediate, devastating, and absolutely beautiful to watch. I'm lying there in my cot, phone buzzing like an angry hornet trapped in a jar, when I decide to check the damage. Big mistake. Huge mistake. The kind of mistake that makes you question every life choice that led to this moment, including that time in 3rd grade when I thought eating paste was a good idea. First thing I notice is that my comment already has 47 likes and counting. 47 people looked at my wife's pregnancy announcement, saw my response, and thought, yeah, this guy's asking the real questions. The like count keeps climbing as I watch. 53, 61, 74. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion, except the car is my marriage and the crash is happening in real time across multiple social media platforms. But here's where it gets really good. And by good, I mean absolutely catastrophic. Marissa's losing her shit. I can practically see the panic through the screen as she starts frantically trying to delete her post. Her phone must be having a seizure or something because every time she tries to delete it, the damn thing freezes up like my computer during my senior year of high school when I downloaded one too many research videos. Meanwhile, the internet's having a field day. My buddy Ortiz from the barracks is practically rolling on the floor of his cot, cackling like a hyena on crack. He screenshot everything, and I mean everything. The original post, my comment, even Marissa's failed attempts to delete the evidence. The man's got more screenshots than a paranoid conspiracy theorist documenting alien sightings. Dude, Ortiz wheezes between fits of laughter. This is better than Netflix. Your wife just committed digital suicide and live-streamed the whole thing. He's not wrong. Within the first hour, I count at least 12 different people who've screenshot the post and shared it to their own stories. Each share comes with its own commentary, ranging from supportive, "Your husband deserves better, girl," to absolutely savage, "When deployment math, don't math skull." That last one becomes an instant meme, by the way. I see it reposted about 15 times across different platforms, each time with more laughing crying emojis than the last. My phone's blowing up like it's Christmas morning, and I'm the only kid on the block. Text messages are flooding in faster than I can read them. My high school buddy Jake sends me a screenshot with the message, "BRO skull 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 dot." My cousin Marcus just sends a series of flame emojis followed by, "She really thought she could get away with that math?" Then there's Tommy from my unit back home, currently stationed in Germany, who sends me a voice note that's just 30 seconds of uncontrollable laughter followed by, "My entire barracks is talking about this shit. Man, you're famous in 3 different time zones." But the real gut punch comes from the family members weighing in. My mom calls, like it's 1995 and we don't have unlimited texting, and she's got that tone in her voice. You know the one. The same tone she used when she found out I crashed my bike into Mrs. Henderson's prized rose bushes when I was 12. "Evan, honey," she says, and I can already hear the combination of fury and concern that only mothers can perfect. "I just saw Marissa's post on Facebook. What in the Sam Hill is going on over there?" Sam Hill. My mother just said Sam Hill while discussing my wife's very public pregnancy announcement featuring another man's baby. The irony isn't lost on me that the woman who taught me my multiplication tables is now doing the same math I did and coming to the same conclusion. Well, Mom, I say, staring at the ceiling of my cot where someone's drawn a surprisingly accurate portrait of our commanding officer looking constipated. I've been deployed for 7 months, and apparently my wife is 3 months pregnant. I'm good at a lot of things, but long-distance conception isn't one of my skills. The silence on the other end of the line could power a small city. When my mom finally speaks, her voice has that deadly calm quality that used to precede my dad getting his ass handed to him for tracking mud through the house. That little. She starts, then catches herself. Bless her heart. She's about to learn what happens when you mess with my son. Southern women and their bless her heart. It's like a polite way of saying this person is about to experience biblical-level consequences for their stupidity. Even my commanding officer gets wind of the situation. Captain Rodriguez pulls me aside during evening chow, and I'm thinking I'm about to get my ass chewed for airing my dirty laundry on the internet. Instead, the man sits down across from me with his tray of what the Army generously calls beef stew and gives me this look. The same look he had when Jenkins accidentally blew up the latrine with an M80 last month. Martinez, he says, using my last name the way he does when he's trying to be serious. I'm not supposed to be monitoring my soldiers' social media drama, but half my unit has shown me your wife's post. You need to talk to someone about this. The fact that my commanding officer, a man who once told a Taliban sniper to bring it on, asshole, over the radio, is asking if I need emotional support tells me exactly how bad this situation looks from the outside. I'm good, sir, I tell him, stabbing at what might be a carrot in my stew. Just working through some logistics involving questionable mathematics and adultery. He nods like that explanation makes perfect sense. Roger that. Just remember, son, the Army's got resources if you need them. And Martinez. He stands up, tray in hand. For what it's worth, I did the math too. Your wife's a fucking idiot. Coming from a man who's survived 3 deployments and has a Bronze Star on his wall, that's practically a Hallmark card. But the absolute crown jewel of this digital dumpster fire comes at the end of the hour when I scroll back to Marissa's post, which she still hasn't managed to delete, bless her technically challenged heart, and see the comment that makes everything else fade into background noise. It's from Elaine, my mother-in-law, the woman who once told me I wasn't good enough for her daughter because I only made sergeant instead of staff sergeant by my 2nd deployment. The same woman who insisted on a church wedding because appearances matter in our family. Her comment is still there, sitting right below mine like a smoking gun at a crime scene. So excited for you and Tyler. He'll make such a wonderful father. Can't wait to meet my grandbaby. 2 hearts. Tyler, the name that's about to become very, very important in this shit show of a story. If there's one thing I've learned from watching politicians and cheating spouses, it's that when someone gets caught red-handed, their first instinct isn't to come clean. It's to dig the hole deeper and hope they eventually reach China. Marissa apparently missed that memo about when to stop digging, because what happened next was like watching someone try to put out a grease fire with a garden hose. I wake up the next morning to my phone buzzing like it's having an epileptic seizure. Ortiz is already awake, coffee in hand, grinning like a kid who just found his Christmas presents in July. Dude, he says, practically vibrating with excitement. You need to see this shit. Your wife just posted damage control, and it's beautiful, man. Like watching the Titanic, but with more emojis. I grab my phone and immediately see 17 new notifications from Instagram. 17. That's more notifications than I usually get in a month, and most of those are from my bank telling me my account balance is sadder than a country song. But this is different. This is my wife in full panic mode, and apparently, she's decided to handle it with all the grace and subtlety of a freight train derailing into a fireworks factory. Her new post is a screenshot from her Notes app, because nothing says genuine heartfelt apology like typing it in the same place you write your grocery lists and random 3 a.m. thoughts about whether penguins have knees. The text is in that basic iPhone font, complete with a typo in the 3rd line that she didn't bother to fix before posting. Already we're off to a great start. Hey everyone. It begins, and I can practically hear the fake cheerfulness through the screen. I made a mistake in my last post. I meant to say 3 weeks, not 3 months. Pregnancy brain is real, y'all. Zany face breastfeeding sometimes when you're so excited about your blessing. You mix up the timeline. Thanks for all the love and support during this special time. 2 hearts. I stare at this digital train wreck for a solid 30 seconds, my brain trying to process the sheer audacity of what I'm reading. 3 weeks. She's trying to convince the entire internet that she meant 3 weeks, not 3 months. As if anyone who's ever seen a pregnant woman in their life would believe that the baby bump prominently displayed in her professional photo shoot belongs to someone who's 3 weeks pregnant. Ortiz leans over my shoulder, reading the post, and starts laughing so hard, he snorts coffee through his nose. Bro, does she think pregnancy works like a fucking microwave? Like you just pop a baby in there and 3 weeks later, boom, full-size bump and a gender reveal party. The man has a point. At 3 weeks pregnant, most women don't even know they're pregnant yet, let alone hiring photographers and buying maternity dresses that cost more than my monthly combat pay. But Marissa's doubling down on this story like her life depends on it, which, considering the alternative is admitting to adultery while her husband's deployed, it probably does. The comments on her clarification post are already rolling in, and they're about as supportive as a house of cards in a hurricane. The top comment, with 43 likes and counting, simply reads, "Girl, we all have eyes." Another one says, 3 weeks pregnant with a bump like that? What are you having, a linebacker? My personal favorite comes from someone with the username at DeploymentWife2019. Ma'am, this is embarrassing. Just stop. But Marissa's not done. Oh no, she's just getting warmed up. Because apparently, when your first lie doesn't work, the logical next step is to go live on Instagram and really commit to the performance. The notification pops up on my phone. Marissa_Martinez23 is going live. I click on it faster than I've ever clicked on anything in my life, and what I see is my wife sitting in what looks like our bedroom. Excuse me, her bedroom now, with tears streaming down her face. Fake tears. The kind you see in soap operas when someone's trying to win an Emmy for most dramatic overreaction to being caught cheating. Hi everyone. She sniffles into the camera, her voice cracking like a 13-year-old boy going through puberty. I can't believe the hate I'm getting right now. This is supposed to be the happiest time of my life, and people are being so cruel. I'm watching this live disaster unfold while half my unit gathers around my phone like we're watching the Super Bowl. Someone brings popcorn. Actual popcorn. Jenkins even starts taking bets on how long it'll take before she says something incriminating. People don't understand what it's like being a deployment widow, she continues, and I nearly drop my phone. Deployment widow. She just called herself a deployment widow. I'm not dead, lady. I'm just in Afghanistan eating shitty food and dodging the occasional rocket attack. There's a significant difference between deployed and deceased. But apparently Marissa missed that distinction in her rush to paint herself as the victim. My husband has been emotionally absent for months, she goes on, really warming up to her sob story now. I've been going to therapy, trying to work through my abandonment issues, and Tyler has been such a rock through all of this. He's helped me realize that I deserve better than. And there it is. Tyler's name slips out mid-rant like a Freudian slip wearing combat boots. She catches herself immediately, eyes going wide like a deer caught in headlights, but it's too late. The internet is faster than her backpedaling, and I can already see the comment section exploding with variations of "Who is Tyler?" and "Did she just admit to cheating on live TV?" My sister Danielle, bless her paranoid heart, is apparently watching this train wreck too, because my phone immediately buzzes with a text, screen recording everything. This woman is digging her own grave with a fucking excavator. Back on the live stream, Marissa's trying to recover, but she's panicking now. Real panic, not the fake tears from 30 seconds ago. She's stumbling over her words, talking faster than an auctioneer on Red Bull, trying to explain away Tyler's name like it just magically appeared in her sentence. Tyler is my therapist. My therapist. He's been helping me deal with the emotional trauma of having a deployed husband who doesn't understand what I'm going through here at home. The comments section is moving so fast I can barely read them, but the ones I catch are absolute gold. Therapists don't usually father their patients' babies, hun. Ma'am, this is not how therapy works. Does your therapist also live next door? Asking for a friend. Wait, next door? Someone in the comments knows where Tyler lives? This plot just got thicker than the mystery meat they serve us in the chow hall. Marissa's live stream continues for another excruciating 10 minutes, during which she manages to contradict herself 4 more times, accidentally mention Tyler's name twice, and somehow make the situation exponentially worse with every word that comes out of her mouth. By the time she finally ends the stream, looking like she's been hit by a truck carrying emotional baggage, the damage is done. The internet has spoken, and its verdict is unanimous. Marissa Martinez is full of shit, and everyone knows it. You know that moment in horror movies when the protagonist realizes the killer was inside the house all along? That stomach-dropping, world-tilting moment when everything you thought you knew gets flipped upside down and shaken like a snow globe? Yeah, well, I'm about to have my own horror movie moment, except instead of a masked killer, it's my cheating wife and the neighbor I trusted to water my fucking plants. I'm still processing the aftermath of Marissa's catastrophic live stream when my phone buzzes with a DM from someone I don't recognize. The username is @Caribbean_realtor, and the little profile picture shows a blonde woman in what looks like a professional headshot. For a second, I think it might be some random person sliding into my DMs to either offer condolences or sell me life insurance, both equally unwelcome at this point. But then I read the message, and my blood turns colder than the time our heating system broke down in the middle of a January blizzard back home. Hey Evan, you don't know me, but I'm friends with your sister Danielle. I've been following this whole situation, and I think you deserve to know the truth. Can we talk privately? It's about Tyler. Tyler, that name again. The name that's been haunting me like a bad song stuck on repeat. The name that keeps popping up in places it shouldn't be, attached to situations that make my skin crawl. I screenshot the message and send it to Danielle with a text. Do you know this person? Is this legit, or am I about to get catfished by some internet troll looking for drama? Danielle responds almost immediately. OMG, yes, that's Kara. She's totally legit, sells houses in your neighborhood. She's been dying to tell you something, but didn't want to overstep. Talk to her now. The fact that my sister used all caps tells me everything I need to know about how serious this is. Danielle only uses all caps for 3 things. When she's really excited about something, when she's really pissed off about something, or when she's about to drop information that's going to change everything. Based on the current circumstances, I'm guessing it's option 3. I message Kara back, my thumbs moving across the screen like they're operating independently of my brain. Yeah, let's talk. What do you know? Her response comes back faster than a boomerang in the hands of an angry Australian. Tyler Morrison. Lives at 247 Oak Street. Ring any bells? 247 Oak Street. My heart stops beating for a solid 3 seconds. 247 Oak Street is the house right next to mine. The house with the blue shutters and the perpetually dying lawn that I always meant to offer to help fix, but never got around to. The house where my neighbor Tyler lives. My neighbor Tyler. Tyler Morrison. The same Tyler Morrison who I asked to keep an eye on my place while I was deployed. The same Tyler Morrison who I gave my spare garage door opener to so he could check on things if the alarm went off. The same Tyler Morrison who I trusted to mow my lawn and make sure my wife was safe while I was overseas getting shot at by people who definitely don't appreciate American democracy. That Tyler Morrison. Kara's next message hits like a freight train carrying a cargo of emotional devastation. She's been with him since spring. Started right around the time you deployed. I'm sorry, but everyone in the neighborhood knows. She's at his place constantly, and he's always over at yours. They're not exactly subtle about it. Since spring. Since fucking spring. I deployed in February, which means they waited all of what, maybe a month? Maybe 6 weeks? Before my bed was even cold, before my side of the garage had time to collect dust, my wife was already cozying up to the guy next door like some kind of suburban soap opera cliche. The betrayal hits me in waves, each one worse than the last. It's not just that she cheated, though that's pretty fucking terrible on its own. It's not just that she got pregnant with another man's baby while I'm overseas, though that's like adding insult to injury and then setting the injury on fire. It's that she did it with Tyler, my neighbor, the guy I specifically asked to look out for her, the guy who I had a beer with before I left, sitting on my back porch, talking about how hard deployments are on military wives and how much I appreciated him being there if she needed anything. The guy who looked me in the eye, shook my hand, and promised he'd take care of everything while I was gone. Well, he certainly fucking did that, didn't he? I'm sitting there staring at my phone, trying to process this information, when Ortiz walks by and sees the look on my face. Dude, you look like someone just told you they canceled Pizza Forever. What's wrong now? Tyler, I say, the name tasting like battery acid in my mouth. Tyler's my neighbor. Ortiz stops mid-stride, his coffee mug halfway to his lips. Wait, what? The Tyler? Baby daddy Tyler? The therapist Tyler who's totally not banging your wife Tyler. The very same. Lives right next door to me. I asked him to watch the house while I was deployed. Ortiz sets his coffee down slowly, like he's handling explosives, and then starts laughing. Not the good kind of laughing, but the kind of laughing you do when the universe reveals just how cosmically fucked up everything really is. Bro, he says, wiping tears from his eyes, your wife is banging the neighbor you asked to house sit. That's not just cheating, that's performance art. That's cheating with a fucking bow on top. Before I can respond to Ortiz's commentary on my wife's creative approach to adultery, my phone buzzes again. This time it's not Kara with more devastating revelations. This time, it's a message from Tyler himself. Tyler Morrison, my neighbor, my wife's baby daddy, the man who promised to take care of things while I was deployed and apparently took that promise very literally. The message preview on my screen makes my vision go red around the edges. Bro, we need to talk. Marissa told me about your comment on her post. Look, she was lonely, and I stepped in to help. You've been gone for months, man. She needed someone who was actually here. Do the right thing and let her go. The baby deserves a real father who's going to be around. I read the message 3 times before the full audacity of it sinks in. This motherfucker, this absolute piece of human garbage, is telling me to do the right thing. The man who's been screwing my wife in my house, in my bed, probably using my goddamn beer from my fridge as foreplay, is lecturing me about doing the right thing. And he has the balls to say the baby deserves a real father who's going to be around. As if serving my country overseas makes me less of a man. As if protecting freedom and democracy is somehow inferior to mowing lawns and impregnating other men's wives. Ortiz reads the message over my shoulder and nearly chokes on his coffee. Holy shit, dude. This guy's not just banging your wife. He's giving you parenting advice. That's next level audacity right there. I stare at the message until the words start blurring together, my hands shaking with a rage so pure it could power a small city. Tyler Morrison thinks he can just waltz into my life, fuck my wife, get her pregnant, and then tell me to step aside so he can play house with my family in my house with my money. He's about to learn exactly how wrong he is about that. If I thought Tyler's message was the peak of audacity, I was wrong. Dead fucking wrong. Because apparently, when you're caught cheating on your deployed husband with the neighbor, the logical next step isn't to apologize or disappear in shame. It's to hire a lawyer and demand half of everything you didn't earn while screwing someone else in the bed your husband paid for. I'm barely done processing Tyler's do the right thing bullshit when my email pings with a message that makes my previous anger look like mild annoyance. The subject line reads, Urgent, legal notice regarding Marissa Martinez, and it's from something called Hoffman and Associates Legal Services. The return address looks like it was typed by someone having a seizure, and the email signature includes a stock photo of Scales of Justice that looks like it was downloaded from a website called freeclipartforamateurs.com. But it's the content of this legal masterpiece that really makes my brain want to pack its bags and move to a different skull. Dear Mr. Martinez, it begins because apparently we're being formal now. I represent your wife, Mrs. Marissa Martinez, in matters relating to her current pregnancy and the dissolution of your marriage. My client has instructed me to inform you of her immediate financial needs and expectations moving forward. Financial needs and expectations. My wife, who's been playing house with my neighbor while I dodge rockets for a living, has financial needs and expectations. This should be good. Mrs. Martinez is requesting the following provisions be made immediately. 1. Transfer of 50% ownership of the marital home located at 245 Oak Street to Mrs. Martinez. 2. Monthly spousal support in the amount of $2,500 to cover living expenses during her pregnancy. 3. An additional $1,000 monthly payment for emotional distress caused by your abandonment during this delicate time. 4. Full health insurance coverage for both Mrs. Martinez and the unborn child. 5. A one-time payment of $10,000 for necessary baby supplies and nursery preparation. I read this list 3 times, each time feeling like I'm having an out-of-body experience. My wife wants half my house, the house I bought with my military savings before we were even married. She wants $3,500 a month in support payments, which is more than I make in base pay. She wants health insurance for a baby that isn't mine. And she wants 10 grand for baby supplies for Tyler's kid. The best part? She's claiming emotional distress caused by abandonment. Abandonment. I'm deployed, fighting a war, and apparently that counts as abandonment in Marissa's twisted reality. I screenshot the email and send it to my JAG lawyer, Captain Thompson, with a message that simply says, "Is this real life?" His response comes back in under 5 minutes. "Holy shit, Martinez. Who did she hire? A lawyer or a comedian?" I haven't seen demands this ridiculous since my cousin tried to sue McDonald's for making him fat. Don't worry, we'll handle this. But Marissa's not done with her publicity tour. Oh no, she's just getting started. Because apparently, hiring a bargain basement lawyer to make insane demands isn't enough. She also needs to take her sob story to TikTok. The notification pops up on my phone. Marissa_Martinez 23 posted a new video. Against my better judgment, I click on it, and what I see is my wife sitting in the driver's seat of her Honda Civic. The Honda Civic that I still make the insurance payments on, mind you, with tears streaming down her face like she's auditioning for a role in the world's most pathetic music video. "Hey TikTok," she sniffles into the camera, her voice wobbling like a broken wheel. "I don't usually post personal stuff like this, but I'm going through something really hard right now, and I just need to get this off my chest." The comments are already rolling in, mostly from teenage girls with usernames like @HotGirlSummer2024 and @CheerleaderLife, offering supportive emojis and "You got this, queen" messages. If only they knew what they were supporting. "I'm dealing with something called deployment abuse," Marissa continues, and I nearly drop my phone. Deployment abuse. She just invented a new form of abuse that apparently involves serving your country overseas while your wife fucks the neighbor. A lot of people don't understand what it's like to be married to someone in the military. They think it's all honor and glory, but the reality is that military wives are basically single moms who get criticized for everything we do. Single moms. She's comparing herself to single mothers while simultaneously being pregnant with another man's baby. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a combat knife. My husband has been deployed for months, and instead of supporting me through this difficult time, he's attacking me on social media and trying to turn people against me. All because I made a tiny mistake in a post about my pregnancy. A tiny mistake. Getting pregnant with the neighbor's baby is apparently a tiny mistake. Now, like forgetting to pick up milk at the grocery store or mispronouncing someone's name. But then she really goes for it, launching into what she's clearly rehearsed as her big emotional moment. I'm starting a new hashtag called #DeploymentWidow because that's what we are. Widows of men who chose the military over their families. We're raising babies alone, dealing with pregnancy alone, and when we try to find support and companionship, we get shamed for it. #DeploymentWidow. She's starting a hashtag comparing herself to women whose husbands actually died in service to our country. I've seen some tone-deaf shit in my life, but this is like tone-deaf with a megaphone standing on top of a mountain. So if you're a military wife going through this too, use #DeploymentWidow and share your story. We deserve support, not judgment. The video ends with her wiping her eyes dramatically and blowing a kiss to the camera. Within minutes, the comments section becomes a battlefield between people buying into her victim narrative and others who've clearly seen the screenshots of her original post. "Girl, we saw the math. This ain't about deployment. This is about cheating," reads the top comment, with 847 likes and counting. Another one says, "Ma'am, deployment widows are women whose husbands died in war. You're just pregnant with another man's baby. There's a difference." But my personal favorite comes from an account called @Military Wives United. As an actual military wife whose husband deployed 6 times, this is disgusting. Delete this and apologize to real military families. The #DeploymentWidow does start trending, but not in the way Marissa expected. Instead of sympathy, it becomes a rallying cry for actual military wives to share their stories of real sacrifice and real struggle, often ending their posts with "This is what a real deployment looks like," followed by pictures of themselves actually supporting their deployed husbands instead of fucking the neighbors. My sister Danielle sends me a compilation video someone made using the hashtag. It's 12 minutes of military wives absolutely destroying Marissa's narrative, complete with deployment timelines that actually make sense and pregnancy announcements that don't require advanced mathematics to understand. Your wife just united the entire military spouse community, Danielle texts me. Against her. I've never seen anything like it. She's like the final boss of military wife drama. Meanwhile, my phone's still buzzing with notifications about her TikTok video. The view count is climbing rapidly, but so is the ratio of people calling her out versus people supporting her. For every, "You're so brave, queen," comment, there are 5 others pointing out that she's literally sitting in a car that her deployed husband pays for while complaining about how hard her life is. The internet, it turns out, is pretty good at math when it wants to be. Emergency leave. 2 words that every deployed soldier either dreams about or dreads, depending on why they're getting it. In my case, it's a little bit of both. Captain Rodriguez pulls me aside after morning formation, his expression somewhere between sympathetic and, "I can't believe I have to deal with this soap opera bullshit." "Martinez, you've got emergency leave approved. 15 days. Your JAG lawyer says you need to be stateside to handle some legal issues regarding your situation." He pauses, clearly trying to find a military-appropriate way to say, "Your wife's a cheating whore who's trying to steal your house." "Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Just remember, son, whatever you do back home, don't do anything that'll get you court-martialed. The Army's invested too much in training you to lose you over some civilian drama." Civilian drama. If only he knew that civilian drama involved coming home to find another man's PlayStation in my entertainment center and ultrasound photos of someone else's baby stuck to my refrigerator with magnets I bought on our honeymoon. The flight back to the States feels longer than my entire deployment. I'm sitting in a cramped middle seat between a businessman who smells like he bathed in cologne and a college kid who won't stop playing mobile games with the sound on, trying to mentally prepare for whatever clusterfuck is waiting for me at home. Danielle picks me up from the airport, and I can tell from her expression that she's been practicing her "I'm sorry your life exploded while you were gone" face in the mirror. Before we go to the house, she says as we're walking to her car, "You should know that the locksmith is meeting us there in 20 minutes. Also, I may have already started packing some of their shit into boxes. Also, Tyler's been parking in your driveway. Also, they've been using your Netflix account, and Tyler changed the password." Netflix. The motherfucker changed my Netflix password. Somehow, that detail pisses me off more than the adultery. You can steal a man's wife, impregnate her, and live in his house, but changing his Netflix password? That's just evil. The locksmith is waiting when we pull up to my house. Correction, when we pull up to the house that's apparently become the set of a low-budget porno featuring my wife and the neighbor. The guy's name is Steve. He's about 60 years old, and he looks like he's seen enough relationship drama to write a country song about it. "You the deployed guy?" he asks, not unkindly. "That's me. Heard about your situation. My nephew's in the Navy. This kind of shit makes my blood boil." He holds up a new set of keys. "These are yours. I already changed the locks on the front door, back door, and the garage. If they try to get in, they'll be trespassing." I tip Steve an extra 20 because he's the first person today who hasn't looked at me like I'm a victim in a Lifetime movie. Walking into my own house feels like entering a crime scene. Everything looks the same but wrong, like someone replaced all my furniture with identical copies that are slightly off. The couch is in the same place, but there are different throw pillows. The TV is still mounted on the wall, but there's a PlayStation 5 underneath it that definitely wasn't there when I left. Tyler's PlayStation 5. Danielle follows me as I walk through the house, documenting the evidence of their cohabitation like she's working for divorce court CSI. Kitchen table, different placemats. Living room. His gaming chair where your reading chair used to be. Oh, and check this out. She opens the coat closet by the front door, revealing a collection of men's jackets that are definitely not mine. But it's the bedroom that really does me in. My bedroom, our bedroom, has been completely transformed into their love nest. The bedsheets are different, softer, and more expensive than anything I would have bought. There are candles on the nightstand that smell like vanilla and betrayal. And hanging in the closet, taking up the space where my dress uniforms used to be, are Tyler's clothes. Not just a few spare shirts. Tyler's entire wardrobe is hanging in my closet like he moved in permanently. Jeans, button-downs, polo shirts, even a fucking tuxedo. The man has a tuxedo hanging in my closet. Who needs a tuxedo when you're unemployed and living off your pregnant mistress's deployed husband's money? Jesus Christ, Danielle mutters, opening dresser drawers. He's got underwear in here, Evan. This dude has been living here like it's his house. I walk into my office, the room where I used to pay bills and handle important military paperwork, and find Tyler's gaming setup. Not just the console, but a full rig. Gaming chair, multiple monitors, a headset that probably costs more than my monthly combat pay, and energy drink cans scattered around like he's been hosting fucking gaming marathons in my house. But the real gut punch comes when I open the refrigerator. Stuck to the door with magnets shaped like little baby bottles are ultrasound photos. Multiple ultrasound photos from different appointments, showing the progression of Tyler's baby growing inside my wife. Someone, probably Marissa, has written dates on each photo in her bubbly handwriting, creating a timeline of their relationship that's been literally stuck to my appliances. Look at this shit. I called Danielle over to see the ultrasound shrine. They've been documenting their bastard child's development on my refrigerator. That's not even the worst part, Danielle says, opening one of the kitchen drawers. Look, she pulls out a stack of papers, and my blood pressure spikes when I see what they are. Bank statements, credit card bills, utility invoices, all in my name, all showing purchases and expenses from the past 7 months. Dinners at expensive restaurants, shopping trips to baby stores, a fucking weekend getaway to a bed and breakfast in the mountains. Tyler and Marissa have been living like newlyweds on my dime while I was overseas eating MREs and hoping not to get blown up. They went to Napa Valley, Danielle says, flipping through the credit card statements. In March, charged $1,200 to your card for wine tastings and spa treatments. While you were deployed. Wine tastings, spa treatments. They took a romantic vacation to wine country using my credit card while I was dodging mortar fire. The audacity is so breathtaking, it's almost impressive. I'm standing there holding evidence of their financial infidelity when I hear the front door open. Voices. Marissa's laugh, high and careless, followed by Tyler's deeper chuckle. They're coming inside. Into my house. Like they belong here. Told you he wouldn't be back for months. Tyler's saying as they walk through the front door. We've got plenty of time to figure out. He stops mid-sentence when he sees me standing in the kitchen, bank statements in one hand, ultrasound photos in the other, with an expression that probably looks like I'm calculating how much trouble I'd get in for committing murder on American soil. Marissa freezes like a deer in headlights, her mouth forming a perfect O of surprise. She's wearing a maternity dress that I definitely didn't pay for, carrying shopping bags from baby stores, looking every inch the glowing pregnant woman. Just not pregnant with my baby. Evan, she squeaks, dropping her shopping bags and immediately launching into the worst acting performance since Tommy Wiseau decided to make movies. Baby, you're home. Oh my God, I've missed you so much. She rushes toward me with her arms outstretched like we're reuniting in some romantic movie, but I step back and hold up the ultrasound photos. 7 months deployed, Marissa. You're 3 months pregnant. With his baby. I gesture toward Tyler, who's standing in my doorway looking like he'd rather be literally anywhere else on Earth. The math still doesn't work. The silence that follows my mathematical revelation lasts about 3 seconds before Marissa completely loses her shit. And I mean completely. Like, someone just told her Taylor Swift is retiring and pumpkin spice lattes have been banned, level of meltdown. How dare you? She screams, her voice hitting a pitch that could shatter windows and probably violate several noise ordinances. How dare you come into MY home and accuse me of your home? I cut her off, waving the stack of mortgage statements I'm still holding. Your home? Marissa, my name is on the deed. My money pays the mortgage. My credit card bought that fucking dress you're wearing. This is MY house, and you've been playing house in it with Captain PlayStation over there. Tyler, who's been standing in the doorway looking like he wants to melt into the floor, finally finds his voice. Look, man, we can work this out like adults. There's no need to. To what? Get upset that you've been living in my house, sleeping in my bed, eating food I paid for, and knocking up my wife. Yeah, you're right. That's totally unreasonable of me. Marissa's face is turning red, and I can see the crazy building up behind her eyes like pressure in a volcano. You abandoned me, she shrieks. You chose the military over your family. You left me here alone and vulnerable. And when someone finally showed me the love and attention I deserve, you want to punish me for it. Love and attention? I hold up one of the credit card statements. Is that what we're calling a $1,200 weekend in Napa Valley? Because I've got news for you. That wasn't Tyler's love. That was my Visa card. Tyler shifts uncomfortably, and I notice he's eyeing the door like he's considering making a run for it. Smart man. Not smart enough to avoid fucking his neighbor's wife, but smart enough to recognize when he's outnumbered in hostile territory. Marissa, meanwhile, has moved from screaming to crying to what I can only describe as emotional terrorism. This is financial abuse, she wails, throwing herself onto my couch dramatically. You're trying to control me with money. You're trying to force me to stay in an abusive marriage. Abusive marriage. Because apparently, being deployed to serve your country now counts as domestic abuse in whatever alternate reality Marissa's been living in. Financial abuse. I waved the bank statements again. You spent $8,000 of my money while I was deployed. On dates. With him. That's not financial abuse. That's theft with a side of adultery. That's when Tyler decides to open his mouth again, proving that stupidity really is a renewable resource. She needed emotional support. Man, you weren't here. Someone had to step up and be the man she needed. The man she needed. I stare at Tyler, really look at him for the first time since he walked into my house like he owns the place. He's about my age, maybe a year or two younger, with the kind of soft physique that screams, I've never done a push-up that wasn't part of a video game controller setup. His idea of combat is probably Call of Duty, and his biggest life challenge was probably deciding between regular or Diet Mountain Dew. The man she needed, I repeat slowly. The man she needed was someone who would mooch off her husband's military pay, live in her husband's house, and get her pregnant while her husband was deployed. That's the kind of man she needed. Marissa jumps up from the couch, her emotional state cycling faster than a broken washing machine. Yes, someone who was actually here. Someone who cared about me as a person, not just a military wife accessory. Someone who was unemployed and looking for a free place to live. Tyler's face flushes red. I'm between jobs right now. The economy's tough, and the economy's been tough for everyone, Tyler. The difference is, some of us deal with it by getting jobs or joining the military. Others deal with it by moving in with their neighbor's wife and spending his money. That's when Marissa pulls out her phone with the determination of someone about to launch a nuclear weapon. I'm calling my mother, she announces, like this is supposed to terrify me. She's going to explain to you why you need to do the right thing here. She dials Elaine's number and puts it on speaker because apparently this conversation needed more participants. Elaine answers on the second ring, and her voice comes through the phone speaker with all the warmth of a prison warden. Marissa, honey, is everything okay? You sound upset. Mom, Evan's home, and he's being completely unreasonable. He's trying to kick Tyler and me out of our home, and he's refusing to support his baby. He's being financially abusive and emotionally manipulative. His baby. She just called Tyler's baby his baby while talking to her mother about me. The audacity is so pure it should be bottled and sold as a cleaning product. Elaine's voice takes on that tone that mothers use when they're about to solve the world's problems through sheer force of will and guilt. Evan Martinez, I don't care whose baby that is biologically. You are married to my daughter, and that makes you responsible for any child she's carrying. You will support that baby. You will provide for my daughter during her pregnancy, and you will act like the man I thought you were when she married you. I look at the phone, then at Marissa, then at Tyler, who's now examining his shoelaces like they contain the secrets of the universe. Elaine, I say, my voice deadly calm. With all due respect, your daughter has been living with another man for 7 months, spending my money on romantic getaways, and is pregnant with his baby. The only thing I'm responsible for is changing the locks and filing for divorce. How dare you? Elaine starts, but Marissa cuts her off by ending the call and immediately dialing another number. Fine, she says, her voice taking on that special kind of crazy that comes right before someone does something spectacularly stupid. If you want to play hardball, we'll play hardball. I'm calling the police. Police. She's calling the police on me. In my own house. For the crime of coming home from military deployment and being upset about finding my wife's boyfriend living in my bedroom. The 911 operator answers. and Marissa immediately launches into what I can only describe as a masterclass in creative fiction. Yes, I need help. My husband just came home, and he's threatening me and my boyfriend. I'm pregnant, and I'm scared for my safety. He's being verbally abusive and trying to kick us out of our home. Our home. Their home. My home. This woman has more versions of property ownership than a timeshare salesman. 20 minutes later, 2 patrol officers are standing in my living room, looking like they'd rather be literally anywhere else. Officer Martinez, no relation, unfortunately, is a middle-aged Hispanic guy with the expression of someone who's seen too much domestic drama. Officer Johnson is younger, probably fresh out of the academy, and keeps looking around my house like he's trying to figure out what the hell is happening. All right, Officer Martinez says, pulling out his notebook with the enthusiasm of someone filling out tax forms. Let's sort this out. Ma'am, you called about domestic violence. Marissa nods eagerly, like a student who knows the answer to the teacher's question. Yes, my husband came home and immediately started threatening me and my friend. He's trying to force us out of our home, and I'm scared of what he might do. Officer Martinez looks at me. Sir, this your house? I hand him the deed, the mortgage statements, and my military ID. Yes, sir. I've been deployed to Afghanistan for 7 months. Came home today to find my wife living here with her boyfriend. The officer examines the paperwork, his expression shifting from bored to interested. And you, sir? He asks Tyler. What's your relationship to this property? Tyler looks like he's trying to solve advanced calculus while being chased by bees. I've been staying here sometimes. Helping out while he was deployed. Helping out, Officer Johnson repeats, looking at the gaming setup, the clothes in the closet, and the ultrasound photos on the refrigerator. By moving in completely, Marissa realizes her narrative is falling apart faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. That's when she decides to go full nuclear and throws herself on the floor like a toddler having a meltdown in the cereal aisle. This is so unfair, she wails, actually rolling on the carpet of my living room. I'm pregnant and homeless and nobody cares about me. Officer Martinez looks at his partner, then back at the scene in front of him. A pregnant woman rolling on the floor, a deployed soldier holding mortgage paperwork, and an unemployed gamer trying to disappear into the wall. Ma'am, he says with the patience of a saint, you're going to need to pack your belongings and leave. This isn't your property, and you have no legal right to be here. You have 30 minutes. That's when Marissa's meltdown reaches levels previously unknown to science. You'd think getting kicked out of my house by the police would be rock bottom for Marissa and Tyler, but apparently, I underestimated their capacity for making spectacularly bad decisions. Because what do you do when you've just been legally evicted from your boyfriend's husband's house? If you're a rational person, you find a hotel, call your family, and start figuring out your life. If you're Marissa Martinez, you crash at your mother's 1-bedroom apartment and immediately start planning your next public humiliation spectacular. Elaine's Place is about what you'd expect for a woman who thinks calling other people's husbands to lecture them about financial responsibility is a normal Tuesday activity. It's a cramped apartment in a complex that's seen better decades, with the kind of thin walls that mean everyone knows everyone else's business whether they want to or not. The whole building probably heard Marissa's meltdown within the first hour. According to Danielle, who's become my unofficial intelligence officer in this ongoing shit show, the living situation lasted exactly one night. One night. Apparently, Tyler couldn't handle sleeping on Elaine's pull-out couch that's older than most of my military equipment. Marissa couldn't handle not being the center of attention in someone else's space. And Elaine couldn't handle having 2 additional people in her apartment when one of them was the unemployed man who knocked up her daughter. They had a screaming match at 2 a.m. Danielle tells me over coffee the next morning. The neighbors called the apartment management. Something about Tyler eating all of Elaine's food and Marissa sobbing about not having a proper nursery for the baby. A proper nursery. The woman wants a proper nursery for a baby that isn't mine, funded by money that isn't hers, after being evicted from a house that wasn't legally hers. The entitlement is so pure it could be used as a renewable energy source. But Marissa's never been one to suffer in silence, so naturally, she decides that the best way to handle being homeless and unemployed while pregnant with another man's baby is to stage a public breakdown at my military base. Because nothing says, I'm the victim here, like showing up at someone's workplace to cause a scene. I'm in the middle of processing my leave paperwork when my phone rings. The caller ID shows duty officer, which is never a good sign when you're supposed to be on emergency leave. Specialist Martinez? This is Sergeant First Class Williams. You need to get down to the main gate. Your wife is here, and well, she's making a scene. Making a scene. Military understatement at its finest. When a career NCO says someone is making a scene, it usually means there's potential for CNN involvement. Copy that, Sergeant. On my way. I drive to the base expecting to find Marissa standing by the gate with a sign or something. Maybe trying to hand out flyers about military wife abuse or some shit. What I actually find is so much worse. She set up what can only be described as a protest camp in the parking lot outside the main gate. She's got a folding chair that looks like it came from a garage sale, a cardboard sign that reads "Military Wife Abandoned by Husband" in crooked letters, and she's live streaming the whole thing on Instagram while sobbing into her phone camera. This is what deployment abuse looks like, she's saying to her audience of confused teenagers and bored housewives. My husband would rather serve a foreign country than take care of his pregnant wife. He's turned the entire military against me because I made one tiny mistake. One tiny mistake. Getting pregnant with the neighbor's baby is apparently equivalent to forgetting to pick up milk from the store. The duty officer, Sergeant Williams, is standing about 20 feet away, looking like he's aged 5 years in the past hour. When he sees me approaching, the relief on his face is visible from space. Martinez, thank God. She's been here for 3 hours. Security tried to escort her off base property, but she's technically in the public parking lot, so legally we can't touch her. She keeps shouting about going to the media. The media? Because apparently, this situation needed more public humiliation. What exactly has she been saying? That you abandoned her, that the military supports domestic abuse, that she's going to expose the truth about how military wives are treated. Oh, and she's been asking people for money. For her pregnancy fund. Her pregnancy fund. She's panhandling for donations to support Tyler's baby while sitting outside the military base where I work. The audacity is reaching levels that should require scientific measurement. I walk over to where she set up her pathetic little protest, and she immediately swivels her phone camera toward me like a heat-seeking missile. And here he is, she announces to her livestream audience. My husband, who thinks that serving overseas gives him the right to financially and emotionally abuse his pregnant wife. The comments on her livestream are rolling by faster than I can read them, but the ones I catch are mostly variations of "Girl, didn't you cheat on him?" and "Ma'am, this is embarrassing. Marissa, you need to leave. You're embarrassing yourself." I'm embarrassing myself? She stands up from her chair, her voice rising to that pitch that makes dogs hide. I'm embarrassing myself? You're the one who's refusing to support your pregnant wife. You're the one who's choosing the military over your family. By now, we've attracted a crowd. Soldiers coming on and off base are slowing down to watch the show, some of them pulling out their phones to record. A few of them recognize me. Word travels fast on a military base, especially when it involves one of your own getting played by his wife. "Yo, Martinez," calls out Specialist Jackson from my old unit. This the wife who can't do math. The entire crowd of soldiers starts chuckling, and Marissa's face turns red with rage and humiliation. "See," she shouts into her phone camera. "See how they treat military wives? This is the toxic culture that—" "Ma'am," interrupts Master Sergeant Rodriguez, my old platoon sergeant, who's just walked up to see what the commotion is about. "With all due respect, most military wives don't get pregnant with other men's babies while their husbands are deployed. You're not a victim of military culture. You're just a cheater." The crowd of soldiers makes a collective, "Oh," sound like we're back in middle school, and Marissa looks like she's about to spontaneously combust. That's when she pulls out her phone and dials what I assume is a local news station, because apparently when public humiliation isn't working, the solution is more public humiliation. "Yes, I'd like to report a story about military domestic abuse," she says loudly, making sure everyone can hear her. "I'm a pregnant military wife who's being abandoned and abused by her husband and the entire military system." The person on the other end of the line must ask for details, because Marissa launches into her well-rehearsed victim narrative. "My husband has been deployed for 7 months, and when I needed emotional support during my pregnancy, he accused me of cheating and kicked me out of our home. Now I'm homeless and pregnant, and the military is supporting his abusive behavior. She conveniently leaves out the part about Tyler, the neighbor, the 7-month deployment versus 3-month pregnancy math, and the $8,000 in credit card charges for romantic getaways. Master Sergeant Rodriguez looks at me with the expression of someone who's seen too much bullshit in his career to be surprised by anything. Martinez, you want me to handle this? Before I can answer, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. This is Gloria Morrison, Tyler's mother. We need to talk. Now. Tyler's mother. This day just keeps getting better. The text continues. I had no idea my son was involved with a married woman. I own his rental house, and I'm evicting him today. Thought you should know. I show the text to Master Sergeant Rodriguez, who reads it and starts laughing. Son, your problems just solve themselves. Tyler's about to be homeless too. Meanwhile, Marissa is still on the phone with what she thinks is a news station, describing her tragic tale of military wife persecution, completely unaware that her boyfriend's mother just threw him out on the street. The beautiful irony of the situation isn't lost on me. While Marissa's here making a public spectacle of herself, trying to gain sympathy for being an abandoned military wife, the real world is busy teaching her that actions have consequences. Her livestream audience has grown to over 300 viewers, most of whom are now posting screenshots of her original pregnancy announcement and doing the math in the comments. The narrative she's trying to push is falling apart in real time, broadcast live to the internet. This is better than cable television. You know that moment in disaster movies when everything that can go wrong starts going wrong all at once? When the earthquake hits during the hurricane, while the volcanoes erupting and aliens are probably invading just for good measure. Yeah, well, welcome to Marissa and Tyler's life for the next 2 weeks. It's like watching a slow-motion car crash, except the car is on fire, filled with fireworks, and somehow also sinking. The eviction notice from Tyler's mom arrives via certified mail the day after Marissa's military base meltdown. Gloria Morrison doesn't mess around. She gives him 72 hours to vacate the premises, and according to Danielle's neighborhood intelligence network, she shows up personally to watch him pack his shit. She stood in the driveway with her arms crossed while he loaded his gaming setup into a U-Haul. Danielle reports over coffee, clearly enjoying every second of this karma train. Apparently, she told him, and I quote, I didn't raise my son to be a homewrecker and a deadbeat. Gloria's not playing games. So now they're both homeless. Marissa's burned her bridges with Elaine after one night of cramped apartment drama. Tyler's been disowned by his landlord mother, and neither of them has the financial resources to afford actual housing because, and this is the beautiful part, they've been living off my military salary for the past 7 months instead of developing anything resembling job skills or savings. But does this stop them from continuing their campaign of public victimhood? Of course not. If anything, being homeless gives Marissa more material for her increasingly unhinged social media presence. They set up a Cash App account called Pregnancy Support 2024 with a goal of raising $5,000 for emergency housing and baby supplies. The description reads like it was written by someone having a nervous breakdown while riding a tilt-a-whirl. Military wife abandoned by deployed husband needs help during pregnancy. Husband refuses to support wife and unborn child. Please help a mother in need. Hashtag deployment widow, hashtag pregnancy support, hashtag military wives matter. The campaign raises a whopping $42 over the course of 2 weeks. $42. Most of it comes from Tyler's gaming buddies who probably donated out of pity rather than actual support. The top donation is $15 from someone called XXX_Gamers_Rule_XXX, with the message, sorry bro, women suck. The comments on their Cash App campaign are absolutely savage. Someone posts screenshots of Marissa's original pregnancy announcement with the caption, math still don't math, hun. Another person calculates how much money they spent on their Napa Valley getaway and points out that it could have covered 2 months' rent. My personal favorite is from a verified military spouse account that simply says, this ain't it, chief. Meanwhile, Tyler's job hunting goes about as well as you'd expect for someone whose most recent employment experience is professional wife stealer and PlayStation operator. Every potential employer in our small town has either seen the viral memes or heard about the situation through the gossip network that operates faster than fiber optic internet. The Dollar General pulls a job offer after the manager recognizes Tyler from the deployment math don't math memes that are still circulating on Facebook. The local GameStop, which should have been a slam dunk for someone with Tyler's skill set of sitting on his ass playing video games, refuses to even interview him after his name gets Googled during the pre-screening process. Even Walmart, the employer of last resort, the place that will hire literally